The Western Conference Finals are here in the NHL. The Oilers and Stars will go head-to-head tonight here in the NHL Conference Finals. The winner will take on the Florida Panthers or the New York Rangers when their series concludes. Carm, I cannot wait for this series. Game one here, two of the best in the league here, this Oilers and Stars team. The star power is certainly there. What's your mindset going into game one?
My mindset is a little different than, maybe slightly different than it was yesterday. Rangers, I didn't have the Rangers. I did give them out on the show, but they showed up. But the Florida Panthers were that much better, and my mindset here is a little different in the sense of I thought the home team would show up in that game. They didn't. So we've seen home teams now are 31-40 in the NHL playoffs. That the home ice just isn't doing it in the NHL this season. And it's similar to last year. Last year, the final home ice was 44-47 home teams on home ice. As these teams are, you're looking at the teams yesterday and the teams today. I think there's parity. These are four good teams, and can the Oilers go in there and beat the Dallas Stars tonight? Of course they can. The Stars are only 1-4 on home ice, or 3-4 on home ice. And not the greatest start for them, Andrew, but they can win on the road. It's going to be a big one. I think if you're going to take a team to win game one, I think you have to look at the road teams. And I stayed away from that yesterday. I made obviously the mistake of not going with the Florida Panthers. They found a way of shutting down the New York Rangers, and you can chop up that game any way you want. It was an even game, and Florida just shut them down. And I think the Oilers, if you look at the last couple of games, and this is something we talked about yesterday with the Edmonton Oilers when we previewed this one, is the Oilers are gonna get theirs. They're gonna score. But they are going to live and die, I think, on how good a goaltending performance they get, because we know the guy in the other net, Jake Ottinger, is a very good goalie. He's playing some lights out hockey right now, and he's faced the two teams in the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights, who are big teams. At least the Vegas Golden Knights are, and then the Avalanche, who put on a display in the first round and then couldn't find the net in the second round. The Oilers have that type of scoring, if not even better. They're going to come. They're going to come in waves at this Dallas team. It's whether Dallas can clog up that neutral ice tonight and keep the Oilers from getting into the O-zone, where their cycling is probably better than any team in the NHL right now. The way they cycle that puck in the O-zone, and you put the puck on a stick of a guy like Connor McDavid. When you're summing up the way Connor McDavid is playing in this, don't look at his goals and assists. Look at what he is doing to set guys up. And sometimes it is just the assists he's getting. I think everyone looks at Connor McDavid and says, well, he doesn't have 8 goals. He doesn't have 10 goals. He doesn't have 12 goals. Well, you want to know why? Because Zach Hyman has them. And it's Connor McDavid who is setting them up each and every game. You don't have to be the guy that scores them, but you can be the guy that sets them up. And that's what McDavid is. So you can say he's not playing great. I say he is playing great. He's having a very good playoff year. This Dallas team, can they find the secondary scoring? I think they're going to have to. The first couple of lines match up, I think, very well in this one. But believe it or not, I like the way the Oilers' third line and even the fourth, when it gets out there, and McDavid gets a couple shifts in there as well too, are playing. This is an Oilers team that is unlike Oilers teams of last year or years past, in that we just waited for them to fall apart. And they normally did. And it was normally goaltending that did it. If Stuart Skinner can replicate anything like he did in games 6 and 7 of that Vancouver series, then I think the Oilers win this series. And I think the Oilers get out to a good start tonight. I'm going to look for that first period Edmonton Oiler one again, Andrew, because I look at it and I keep saying, if you like a team to win, they've got to get out to a good start. You can't play from behind in this league. And you look at the Florida Panthers yesterday, just to go back on that one, when they scored the first goal, I think they said there were something like 14-2 their last 16 games, 7-1 on the road. Oilers need to score first in this one, get a leg up on this Dallas team, because Dallas plays very good with the lead, and you don't want to be behind them. So give me the Oilers first period in this one. I'm going to stay away from the total because if Edmonton goes in with the mindset like they did the last couple of games, which is let's shut them down, take care of our opportunities when we get them, then this is a low scoring game, and it very well could be. Kind of like last night's. So give me the Oilers first period here with a slight lean to the under, Andrew. And my apologies to you guys. The delay today in the show was my fault. My headset wasn't working properly. Andrew, give me your thoughts. Not on my
Carm,
headset, but on
there,
this game.
there's been a bunch of delays to shows this season, and they were a lot of times my fault. So everybody gets their one on the season here. Look, I agree with a lot of the stuff that you just said, and I think that, based on everything I've read through social media and through some of the articles I've been reading and game breakdowns and previews, Carm, they might as well not even play this series. They might as well not even play it, because guess what? Everybody just seems to say that Dallas is winning the series. It's over already before the series has even begun. People think the Dallas Stars have a one-way ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals. I disagree with that. I think it's going to be very, very tough. I do think the series goes very long. And I think that one key factor, which is being talked about a lot, is true, and that's the goaltending battle. But Skinner hasn't honestly been that bad. He really hasn't. And you go to, he has a bad game, and they put Pickard in. Pickard wins the game. They put him in again. He loses. They put Skinner back in. Of course, this is in the previous series, and they end up coming out on top against Vancouver. And, one misconception about this Edmonton team, and look, I've talked about it before. I've cashed tickets on their team total over 3.5 multiple times this playoffs and throughout the regular season, Carm. But I think one misunderstanding people have about them is that they have to win that way. They have to win high scoring. I would disagree with that. I think that that's kind of like the old-fashioned Oilers, and there have been some spots this playoffs where I have said, you know what? I believe we're going to see a classic Oilers performance, and we're going to see goals out of this team. But that's not to say that this team hasn't done a good job of locking things down. A good example is the series clinching victory, the game that they won to get to where they are right now, to get to where we are right now, previewing this game, Edmonton versus Dallas. Edmonton won 3-2 against the Vancouver Canucks in Game 7. You also take a look at Game 4. Edmonton wins that one 3-2. You look at in the previous series for Edmonton against Los Angeles, they won a game that was low scoring and went under the total. This Edmonton team is more than capable of winning low scoring games. However, I will agree with people when they do say the Dallas Stars are probably the deeper team. One thing really interesting, Carm, when you look from top to bottom at the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers, you look at the playoff point leaders, the playoff goal leaders. A lot of those numbers are going to favor guys that play for the Edmonton Oilers. But that's what depth means. Depth is almost a certain situation where you can say, I'm not sure which guy to bet on for player props each night for the Dallas Stars, because it seems to be a different guy every single night. Now, lineup stuff is going to be very interesting in how they shape things. How do the Dallas Stars work without Rupe Hintz? He's not healthy right now. Will he return? How fast will he come back? The Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, those guys together. Do they continue to keep the older guys together, or do they mix those in with the younger guys? And as far as the Oilers, what's the update on Adam Henrique? Will Sam Carrick make his way into the series? How healthy is Connor McDavid right now? As Carm talked about, he's being very passive. Is that because he's injured or because he's just passing the puck around quite a bit? Carm, yesterday, it's tough because I had a lot of the player props I discussed in the show over in Florida and New York was a dud. And that was a play of mine yesterday. And I really thought we'd see both teams come out despite the good goaltending, put some goals up. One team contributes, and it makes you realize in the postseason, especially when you're not getting that many calls as far as the power plays are concerned, because I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we didn't say a lot more, gets brushed off, I guess we could say, for the referees here in the postseason, especially in the conference finals. These referees, they don't want to decide the game unless they have to. It's a lot harder to get goals. It's a lot harder to get to that number. So we're seeing the Dallas Stars here minus 130. Of course, they're at home. And you've been talking, Carm, about how much we've seen these away teams have success. So what I'm going to look at is going to be the full game under, but I'm going to put a little sprinkle, just a little sprinkle here on the under 2.5 team total for the Dallas Stars at plus 145. I think this game will be defensive. I think we'll see that Edmonton, of course, has the goal scorers. They can compete. They can skate with this depth that the Dallas Stars have. But it's really important for the Edmonton Oilers in the opening game of this series to prove that they are a defensive team as well. All I hear is right now, Ottinger is the better goaltender. Dallas has more depth. Tanev's a better, Heiskanen are better defenseman. Carm, it seems to me like it's like a classic NFL Sunday morning. 90% of the public are on this team minus 13.5, and it's going to be an easy cover for the underdog here. I just think that, to me, people are kind of undercutting this Oilers team.
Oh, listen, I get it. I talked yesterday about the Rangers. This year, 11, following up a home loss, 11 times with a win. Yesterday was the first time they have lost back-to-back games at home, and it happens in game one of the NHL playoffs. And I'm just going to talk about that one before I talk about the Dallas one game again. But you look at that series now, and we talked about not if you like the Rangers, we talked about like if liking certain teams, and you don't have to jump into the series price right away. If you like the Rangers and you believe that the Rangers came out flat in that game, I don't believe the Rangers came out flat. I think Florida just played so much better than them that every single line that went out there for Florida played well. There wasn't a bad shift, I think, in that 60 minutes. But now, if you like the Rangers going into the series, you're getting plus 250 on the Rangers now to win the series, down 1-0. That is a huge reaction to the line where this line I think was minus 115 to minus 105 for the Rangers. I think were, as far as favorites in the series were, although there were dogs 115 to minus 105 in game one. They are now plus 250. And I get it. All the pressure is on them, Andrew, to win game two at home, or else they're going back to Florida down 2-0. But we've seen teams come back from deficits before. The Avs lose game one and then roll them in four in the reverse gentleman's sweep. We saw the Dallas Stars lose their first two home games and then win 4 straight against the Avalanche. So it does, or sorry, against the Vegas Golden Knights. So that does happen. Plus 250. If you like the Rangers before, you've got to nibble on a plus 250 unless you believe you're throwing good money at bad. But jumping back to this Edmonton one, Andrew, because we mentioned about props and we mentioned and we talked about Connor McDavid. So I think this is what you need to do. I'm skipping props on tonight's game completely. I want to see how this series plays out. Game one usually is a good indication at this point, whether they've been off 3 days, 4 days. It did not matter in the Florida series, as we saw. Both teams played extremely well in game one yesterday. I don't want to play any props tonight. I think the best thing to do is see how this plays out, and especially with Connor McDavid. Because if you look at McDavid and his ice time, and you mentioned possibly, we're not saying there's something wrong with McDavid, but his game one ice time tonight will give us an indication of a little more. You look at the Vancouver series, he played, this is from games 1 to game 7, 24 minutes, 28 minutes, 29 minutes, 23 minutes, 23 minutes. In the final 2 games that were both wins, he played 21 minutes and 20 minutes in the final 2 games, at least 2 minutes of less ice time And that's about 4 to 5 shifts because these guys are out there for like 30 seconds. Unless they're on the power play or they're out there for a minute. 20 minutes is not normal for Connor McDavid as far as shifts in a game, especially game 6 and a game 7, which are both elimination games. But they did jump out to leads in those ones, and they relied on those third and fourth lines to check the Canucks into the ground or into the ice. If he has 20 minutes tonight, Andrew, um, maybe there is something with it. We'll see. We'll see what we get out of McDavid tonight, but I'm not betting any player props. I want to see. I hope he's good. Game 6 and 7, he still went into the corners. He still fought for the puck. That normally isn't a guy who's got some kind of an injury that they usually avoid, you know, any of that stuff in the corner. So we'll see what we get out of him tonight. But I think having, like I said, a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes of fewer ice time in consecutive games is a little odd as far as McDavid goes.
I agree. And you know what? As much as everybody's talking about it, like I mentioned, Carm, the real battle in this series is going to be depth, is going to be can they get goal scoring production from guys that aren't named Connor or Leon? And I feel like a broken record because I say that all the time. But the fact is, it's true. It's true. I mean, look at the series clinching game, Carm. I don't believe they got a goal from Connor or Leon in that series clincher. And that's the difference between this year's team and last year's team. At least they hope so. Running through a few props, though, Carm, I did mention to you that I would be interested in taking some unders on props. So what I like to do in game 1 of a series is I like to look at the head-to-head matchups from a team, a head-to-head Edmonton versus Dallas. We could easily look at the last 5, last 6, last 7 games played throughout this playoffs, but I do like looking at the last head-to-head. And because I'm looking at unders, one thing I have found, Carm, this Dallas Stars team has done a really good job against Draisaitl and McDavid. Leon, under 1.5 points, has cashed in 8 of his last 9 meetings against the Dallas Stars. Nugent Hopkins, under 2.5 shots, has cashed in 6 of his last 8 meetings versus the Dallas Stars. Connor McDavid, under 1.5 points, minus 110, has hit in 6 of his last 9. One prop I've been betting on a lot, which is Tyler Seguin, which cashed a lot in his previous series against the Avalanche. Well, he hasn't done as well with his shots on goal prop against the Edmonton Oilers in the matchups they've given him. He's gone under 2.5 in 5 of his last games. And also for Zach Hyman, his numbers are down. So I think if you're looking at some of these Dallas Stars players, you're looking more at Mason Marchment. You're looking more at even Robertson, who's been a little bit quiet. If you're looking at Oilers players and you want to bet overs, I think it's a really big opportunity to look at guys like Holloway, to look at guys like Evander Kane, to do good things for you. It's a battle of depth. What do we always say? The first line gets you to the playoffs. The second and third line wins it for you. Even if McDavid and Leon can just create offense, get the puck on Ottinger, open things up for the second and third line. I think they can have success here, Carm. But I would say this is a series where for the top lines for both teams, I would actually look to bet unders on those guys. And for the second and third line players, I would look to bet overs on them. Now, we have a question here coming in, Carm. It's from the Instagram comments questions here, asking about paying the juice of now minus 145 on Evan Bouchard assists. I've actually been giving this one out to clients, so I'll just say that to me, it's a little bit different because I'm kind of, you don't like to say this phrase here, Carm, but I'm sure you'll understand what I'm saying. I kind of feel like I'm playing with the house money with this prop a little bit because I've been betting this since it was minus 120. I've been betting this one since the regular season was still going on. So it's a little bit different for me, but I really do like that. Evan Bouchard right now, he's almost making a case for the Canada team at the Four Nations Cup. He's making a case for the Olympic team. That's how good he's been. And, for some teams, when they look and say, what's the difference from why my team isn't having success to why other teams are, that blast from the point is huge. I hear like my good buddy, he's a Leafs fan, and he always says to me, Morgan Riley is a great defenseman for the Leafs, but they don't have that blast from the point. And that really can make a difference for some teams. Evan Bouchard's been great. What happens a lot is he shoots the puck, it goes off the goalie, and then someone scores. And in hockey, they still count that as an assist. So my answer would be yes, I would still play it. If you want to play it safe, you could correlate that with an Edmonton victory or, a point from somebody as well. Carm, any thoughts on that with the juice there?
Well, I'm glad you answered the question because I told you I'm not going to take any props on tonight's game. I'll be watching the game with some friends tonight. I think the Prez is going to be there. It's a little birthday poker outing kind of thing. But watch the game, and I'm going to avoid the props. See how this game goes, and then bet him in game two. I got a little distracted. I was being trolled by Burger King. That's the name I'll give him because his initials are BK, and I think he works the window. But with that said, Andrew, we're gonna get those ones every once in a while. One guy, Broward County 954, asked me if I still think the Rangers will win the series because the price is good, and I mentioned the price that you can get on them right now. It's a crazy price. Honestly, my point was yesterday was if you like the Rangers, maybe skip game one, and if they lose, you're going to get a much better price. I didn't think you're going to get plus 250 on them. Andrew, you look at the analytic numbers, and I get it. Not everyone is a fan of analytics. That is fine. You can accept them, you can throw them out, or you can make them part of your handicapping. In all situations yesterday, the Rangers led the analytics 2.98 to 2.83. So that is 5.81 goals that should have been scored in that game. 2.99, 3 goals by the Rangers. They had none. 2 breakaways, hit a post, missed the net, or made a save. And it is what it is. You can accept analytics or you cannot. I go both ways, Andrew. When my team is 18 points in the NFL and they score a touchdown and they go for 2 points, I'm doing the math in my head thinking, what are you doing? But analytics says you go for 2 because the next touchdown, if you get another touchdown, you win the game. That's what analytics does. If you base yesterday's result or your futures plays on analytics, it says that the Rangers should have scored more goals than they did. Anything they would have scored would have been better than what they did in that spot. But so will I be laying money on the Rangers at this price? I'm undecided at this point. I just, I watched that game and Florida just dominated them. But dominating a team in one game, Andrew, doesn't mean you're going to do it in a whole series. But this is a Florida team with that has experience. They've been here. They did it last year. They made a run to the cup. Who's to say they can't do it again?
Look, Florida's healthy, and that was kind of the big point that I made about them, Carm, is the health. They limped into the conference finals last year, and they crawled into the Stanley Cup finals. We're going to get a better effort, I think, out of the Rangers, though, in game 2. But the question that I kind of put forward is this. Based on what you saw and the effort we saw from Sergei Bobrovsky, are they going to have to score 2 or 3 goals to beat this Florida team? Because realistically, the Florida Panthers are going to get their goals. They have a great goaltender as well. I feel like the Rangers are going to have to beat Bobrovsky at least 3 times to win a game. I don't think they're going to be able to score 2 goals and win a hockey game right now against the Florida Panthers, Carb. So scoring 3 goals against the Florida Panthers is really tough right now. It really is. And 4 is very, very tough. So, if you're the Florida Panthers and you get 2 goals, like especially if you scored 2 goals within the first half of the game, it's like the average goaltender having, getting a 4-goal lead. Really. I mean, that's how great he is. Remember when Alex Lyon used to be bad, Carm? That's what it's like. It's like if Alex Lyon gave you a 5-0 lead, that's like Bobrovsky giving you a 2-0 lead. That's how good he is right now.
Yeah.
When you have a 2-0 lead and you're Bobrovsky, he's so good that he makes guys feel so comfortable, and they're going to clog things up. And we got a comment here from Parker, the under better. So you know what kind of bets he likes. I'm sure he's good friends with Andy Lang. when he's betting on hockey. But he's talking about the shots on goal. And I will say, the conference finals right now, nobody likes betting unders, right, guys? Well, if you like making money, then betting unders on shots might be a good idea, because a lot of these numbers that the books are putting out are from the regular season statistics, regular season trends we've seen. These aren't, taking into account the playoff matchups, playoff styles. It's very similar to post All-Star break in the NBA, and then once the playoffs start, we're seeing 206s, 205s, 204s as the totals in some of these matchups that were 225 as the totals just 3 months ago. So, Carm, I definitely agree with Parker, the under better, that taking under 2.5 shots on goal on some guys is a good idea.
Yeah, listen, and my final thoughts on both yesterday's game and today's game. Something to look forward to is, if you have a good goalie, he doesn't have to be a great goalie when you hold the other team to like 12 shots through 2 periods. That's what Florida did to the New York Rangers. New York Rangers, game 1 at home, conference finals, Madison Square Gardens, and they have 12 shots through 2 periods of play. They end up with 23 shots on goal because they amped it up in the third period, tried to push, and Florida played quite possibly their most disciplined game of the season. They just did. They weren't taking penalties. They took one after a couple Ranger penalties. You knew the next penalty, which was the third penalty, was going to go to Florida eventually. That's what the refs love to do. At some point, they even it up. But it's the same thing tonight. If the Edmonton Oilers can limit the amount of shots that the Stars get on Stuart Skinner, they should be able to win this game. They should be able to go in there and win this game. But if the Dallas Stars pepper Stuart Skinner with 35 plus shots, Andrew, as good as he played in those last couple of games, I wouldn't feel good about a bet on the Edmonton Oilers if he's getting peppered. But we saw the Oilers shut down the Canucks in 2 straight games. Let's see if they can do it to the Dallas Stars tonight. Those are my closing thoughts.
I'm looking forward to it. And as you mentioned, I'll probably be more in action throughout the series, but it's always good to watch game 1 and see what happens, Carm. So for me, so far through what I've looked at, it's going to be like 1 player prop and 1 very small first period play, I think, for me and my clients. In the MLB, there's only 1 play I found so far, and that's a featured play at WagerTalk.com. And of course, guys, if you're still interested, the CFL season begins the first week of June, near the end of the first week there. I cannot wait. 3 straight profitable CFL seasons for me. 10-2, 5% CFL run. I cannot wait. I'm going to start putting out some CFL win totals, some videos, and we can get ready for some videos to start cashing some tickets on some weekly games. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to be back with some CFL betting, the soft market, guys, and hopefully we can take advantage of it once again. Carm, what do you have going for your clients today?
Only 1 play, Andrew, right now. No baseball for me. Only 1 play, and that is obviously on tonight's game. It's a top play, a 5% play, so you can get that over at WagerTalk. I do have that deal that is going on right now, the rest of the NHL season and the 3 summer soccer tournaments. So pretty much every single play in soccer until August the 25th, because that'll cover the 3 tournaments. We have the Euro 2024. I'm recording a video on Friday with Kelly Stewart. I'm excited about doing that and breaking down that tournament. The Copa America in the U.S. for the first time. I'm going to go see a couple games in the U.S., likely the Argentina-Canada game. And then, of course, the Leagues Cup, all the League MX teams from Mexico and all the MLS teams. And that one goes in August, the beginning of August. So 3 great tournaments. You can get all of those along with the rest of the NHL season for $199. It's a great deal over at WagerTalk. No coupon needed. You'll find it on my page. Guys, sorry for the delays once again. My fault. We appreciate all you guys do in the chat, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Andrew, take us home.
All right, guys, enjoy game 1, Western Conference Finals, Edmonton and Dallas. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss game 2 of the Rangers and the Panthers. Best of luck. See you tomorrow.